Okay, so get ready to dive into wedding dress inspiration.
Wedding dress inspiration.
Yeah, but here's the twist. We're getting it from classic literature.
Oh, wow. That sounds pretty unique.
Right. Our source is this blog post from a bridal shop.
A bridal shop.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania.
Interesting.
And
I mean, you wouldn't think...
I know, you wouldn't think a bridal shop blog would be talking about like Edgar Allan Poe and wedding dresses.
No, not really.
But it's actually full of creative ideas. It
Yeah,
really shows you that inspiration can come from anywhere.
I guess so, yeah.
So they start off with Edgar Allan Poe, and naturally they suggest this gothic romance and mystery aesthetic for all the Poe fans out there.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, it makes sense when you think about Poe's work, right? Like all the darkness, the mystery,
Yeah,
that kind of macabre feel.
totally. And so to bring that into wedding style, they suggest, those Victorian silhouettes, dramatic embellishments,
Like what?
like capes and veils,
Oh, okay, yeah.
very Morticia Adams.
I get it.
And get this, they even suggest 2 black wedding dresses.
Black.
Black. The Sophia Tully Rebecca and the Morally Rosa.
Wow. Bold choices.
Right. Both of them have all these, intricate details like
Right.
lace, roses, even a bit of sparkle.
I wonder if people actually go for black wedding dresses.
I don't know, it's pretty daring. But I mean, black isn't always just about mourning, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Especially with Poe. Like,
Yeah.
in his work, black often represents something deeper, right? Like the subconscious.
Yeah, the hidden depths.
Exactly. So maybe choosing a black wedding dress could be a way to, like, express that sense of mystery,
Yeah.
Turn the whole traditional white dress on its head.
Ooh, that's a really interesting way to look at it.
Right?
I was just thinking it was about, like, being edgy.
Could be both.
True, true. And then to, like, complete the Poe theme,
Yeah.
they suggest favors like, black votive candles, little bottles of dark rum,
Yeah.
and skeleton keys.
Skeleton keys.
Skeleton keys.
I don't know about those.
Yeah, the skeleton keys are a little much for me, too.
But the candles and rum, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that idea of incorporating those little details
Yeah.
to create that whole, like, Poe atmosphere,
It's like you're stepping into one of his stories.
Exactly. Okay, so moving on from the darkness of Poe, we're going to jump into the glitz and glamour of F. Scott Fitzgerald
Oh, okay.
with a roaring 20s glamour aesthetic.
So we're talking flapper dresses, feathers, all that jazz.
Uh-huh, pretty much. But before we get into that, I think it's important to remember what was going on back then, like historically,
Yeah.
I mean, the Roaring Twenties were a time of huge changes, right? Like socially, culturally.
Also,
Women were breaking free from all these traditional roles,
right.
and their fashion really reflected that.
It did.
So the blog suggests like slinky silhouettes, vintage necklines, and tons of sparkle.
Very Great Gatsby.
Oh, totally. And Fitzgerald's portrayal of the jazz age, it's just so iconic.
It really is.
Like the opulence, the extravagance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this aesthetic really captures that.
It does, that sense of exuberance, that liberation.
Totally.
Okay, for a specific dress, they recommend the Evie Young Sydney. It's kind of like a modern take on the classic sheath gown with beautiful pearl detailing.
I could see it.
Very Gatsby-esque, right?
Yeah.
And they also suggest long silk gloves.
Oh, but like, how would you dance the Charleston in those?
Uh-huh, right. Maybe fingerless gloves would be better.
Yeah, you gotta think about practicality.
You do, even when you're going for a whole theme.
Totally.
Okay, to like set the scene even more, they suggest trifold invitations with like velvet or feather accents.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, to evoke that whole Gatsby-esque grandeur,
I love it. It's all about the details.
It is. Speaking of details, let's move on to William Shakespeare
Okay, Shakespeare.
and the romantic elegance aesthetic. What comes to mind when you hear romantic elegance?
Let me see. I'm thinking like flowing fabrics, Renaissance details, floral accents, like a Midsummer Night's Dream vibe.
Exactly. Shakespeare's works are full of romantic comedies and tragedies, right?
They are.
With all those themes of love, passion, and fate, and this aesthetic, it aims to capture that ethereal romantic quality.
I get it.
So they recommend the Essence of Australia 429 gown.
Okay.
It's this A-line dream with botanical lace and exposed corset bodice, and get this detachable puff sleeves.
Wow. That sounds amazing.
It does. It definitely has that Shakespearean heroine vibe, but with a modern twist.
Right. It's so interesting how wedding dress styles have changed so much since Shakespeare's time. Like
Really?
back then, those dresses were so structured, so constricting.
They were. But today, we have way more freedom.
You had to choose styles that are both beautiful and comfortable.
Exactly.
Much better.
Okay, for food, they suggest all these Elizabethan-inspired dishes.
Like what?
Like stuffed dates, figs, aged cheeses, and mulled wine.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Right. It's like my dream wedding feast.
It does sound delicious. And it's another way to, like, create that immersive experience.
Totally. All right, last but not least, we have Ernest Hemingway, the king of understated elegance.
Hemingway. Okay.
Now, when we talk about Hemingway, both his writing and his personal life, it's all about getting rid of the unnecessary and focusing on the essentials.
Yeah, like clean lines, natural fabrics, that kind of effortless sophistication.
Exactly. And the blog really emphasizes that in their description of the understated elegance aesthetic.
Okay.
And they suggest the Gracie Rose 0350 dress. It's a sheath style made of crepe fabric with buttons down the back and detachable off-the-shoulder sleeves.
Simple but nice.
Right. Simple, yet so chic.
And versatile with those detachable sleeves.
Oh, good point. You can create 2 different looks with one gown.
Yeah. Which I guess kind of reflects Hemingway's own personality, right?
Ooh, I like that. They also suggest wedding flowers, like, vibrant hibiscus and orchids.
Sounds like a Key West vibe.
Yeah, or more classic sunflowers, lavender, and roses.
More of a Parisian feel.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice way to bring in elements of Hemingway's life, his travels, into the wedding theme.
Yeah, I see that.
So we've covered 4 very different literary aesthetics.
We have.
The question is, how do you actually bring these themes to life in a real wedding?
That's a good question.
Well, the blog gives some specific recommendations on how to do just that. For venue suggestions, they say
A forest for Poe, a grand estate for Fitzgerald, a garden or vineyard for Shakespeare, and a coastal setting for Hemingway.
See, they've really thought this through. But okay, let's say you're like, I love the Poe theme, but a black wedding dress. That's a little too much for me.
Right.
How else could you bring in those Gothic elements?
Well, there are tons of ways to, like, adapt a theme to your own style, right? Like maybe instead of a black dress, you go for a deep burgundy.
Oh.
Or navy blue.
Yeah.
But with black lace accents.
I like that.
Or you could do a dramatic veil, but with a touch of sparkle, like that Sophia Tully Rebecca they mentioned.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
It doesn't have to be all or nothing,
Right. You can still get that Gothic feel without going full, like, Gothic bride.
Exactly. And think about the decor, too, right?
Oh, yeah, the decor.
Instead of bright colors, you could use those dark, rich tones.
Right.
Like plum, emerald green, charcoal gray.
I love those colors.
Those are of tablecloths. The flowers.
No, and candelabras?
Yes. With dripping wax.
Ooh, that's so romantic, but with an edge.
Right. And then for favors, maybe instead of skeleton keys,
Yeah.
you could do little vials of, like, Poe-inspired perfume.
Oh, that's cute.
Or custom-made bookmarks with quotes from his work.
Those are great ideas. It's all about taking those key elements and, like, making them your own.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's switch gears now and go back to the Roaring 20s.
Okay. Back to Gatsby.
Yeah, F. Scott Fitzgerald.
All that glamour.
So let's say you're loving the glamour of that era, but you're not really into the whole flapper look.
Yeah.
What other options are there?
Well, the 1920s were a really interesting time for fashion, right? Like, Art Deco was having a huge influence.
Oh, yeah, Art Deco.
With those geometric patterns, luxurious materials.
Yeah, yeah.
And that emphasis on sleek silhouettes.
So you could totally incorporate that.
You could. Without looking like you stepped out of a flapper party.
Right, so maybe like a satin slip dress.
Oh, yeah.
With some geometric Art Deco beading.
That would be beautiful.
Or like a sleek jumpsuit, but with a beaded capelet.
Ooh, I like that. Or even a simple gown, but with a really dramatic cape.
Oh, yeah, flowing cape.
And for a headpiece, maybe not a full-on crystal crown.
Right.
But like a simple headband with a feather or a pearl accent.
I love those options. And you know what else I think would be important for a Gatsby-themed wedding?
What?
Music.
Oh, absolutely. Music would be huge for setting the mood.
Yeah. Like a live jazz band.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would transport everyone right back to the Roaring 20s.
I know. And maybe even a dance instructor to teach everyone the Charleston or the foxtrot.
That would be amazing.
Now, what about Shakespeare? How can you create that romantic elegance without, going full Renaissance fair?
Well, again, it's about adapting those key elements, right? So instead of a really structured gown with a corset and puff sleeves, maybe you go for a flowing chiffon gown.
Oh. okay.
with some delicate floral embroidery.
Beautiful. And instead of a flower crown, maybe a loose braid,
Yeah.
but with fresh flowers woven in.
That's so romantic.
Okay.
And it's still got that ethereal feel.
Right. But in a more understated way.
Exactly. And you know what else?
What?
Don't forget about Shakespeare's words.
Oh, his words.
Yeah, you could totally incorporate quotes from his plays.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Like imagine calligraphed quotes
Yeah.
on the table runners or the signage.
Love it.
It's those little touches, you know.
They really bring the theme to life.
They do. And for favors, you could give guests little sachets of lavender or rosemary, like the herbs they used back then.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
Right.
Okay, lastly, let's talk about Hemingway.
Hemingway.
How do you capture that understated elegance
Mm-hmm.
in a way that feels authentic, you know?
Well, with Hemingway, it's all about quality, not quantity.
Okay.
So choose a simple, well-cut gown made from natural fabric, like that Gracie Rose dress, and keep the accessories minimal.
Less is more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for the decor, think natural elements,
Okay.
like wood, stone, greenery.
Oh, okay.
So the rustic wooden tables
Yeah.
with wildflowers and candlelight.
That sounds beautiful.
And instead of a big fancy wedding cake,
yeah.
maybe a simple naked cake
Oh, yeah.
decorated with fresh fruit and herbs.
That's perfect for Hemingway.
And then, to honor his love of travel,
Uh-huh.
you could have a map-themed guest book
Okay.
where people can mark places they've been or want to go.
I love all these ideas. I'm getting so inspired.
Me too.
But before we move on, I'm curious, what kind of literary wedding would you plan?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know, right?
I'm drawn to the romantic elegance of Shakespeare,
Mm-hmm.
but I also love that understated beauty of Hemingway.
Yeah.
Maybe like a fusion of the two.
Oh, a fusion.
So a garden setting,
Okay.
but with rustic touches.
Mm-hmm.
A simple but elegant gown,
Yeah.
and quotes from both authors,
Yeah.
like woven into the decor.
That sounds amazing. It's a perfect example of how you can take these ideas
Yeah.
and really make them your own.
Exactly.
Okay, speaking of making things your own,
Yeah.
let's talk about one of my favorite parts of wedding planning.
What's that?
The food and drinks. The food and drinks. I mean, come on. The food is always one of my favorite parts of any celebration.
Oh, absolutely. Especially for a wedding, right?
Exactly. It's like another opportunity to really express your personal style.
Yeah.
Create a memorable experience for the guests.
Totally. And there are so many possibilities, right? Like the blog had some fun suggestions based on the authors, but
Yeah.
I'm curious, what kind of culinary delights would you come up with for that gothic romance vibe? Like for a Poe wedding?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let me think. I feel like we should lean into those darker, more mysterious flavors, you know?
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
Rich, savory dishes, deep colors, and maybe a touch of the unexpected.
Give me some specifics.
Okay, how about a black truffle risotto?
Oh, yeah.
Those earthy flavors, the color,
Perfect for Poe.
and for dessert,
Hmm.
a blood orange panna cotta.
Oh, elegant, slightly tart, and that color is just so striking.
Right. And for cocktails?
Cocktails, let's see.
What would a Poe cocktail be like?
I'm envisioning something called like a Raven's Shadow
Ooh, I like that.
with blackberry liqueur, dark rum, and maybe a hint of absinthe for that touch of mystery.
That sounds amazing. Okay, now for a Gatsby-inspired celebration.
Oh, Gatsby.
I'm picturing a super lavish spread, like fit for a king.
Oh, absolutely. Champagne towers are a must, right?
Of course, and those elegant canapes.
Yes, oysters on the half shell.
Ooh, maybe even a chocolate fountain.
Oh, decadent.
Don't forget those mini lobster rolls
Oh.
and deviled eggs.
Love it. And for drinks, we got to go with classic cocktails.
Yeah, like gin rickeys and sidecars.
Perfect.
Okay, what about a Shakespearean feast?
Shakespearean feast.
What would that look like?
I'm feeling a sense of rustic romance, you know?
yeah,
Like hearty dishes,
The
roasted meats, seasonal vegetables,
yeah.
crusty bread,
Oh, and for dessert.
dessert.
Yeah.
Let's do a beautiful berry tart.
Ooh, I love that.
Or maybe a spiced apple cake.
That sounds delicious. And to drink?
To drink, we need to go authentic.
Right.
Mulled wine
Yes.
or cider
Yeah.
served in goblets.
Love it. Okay, last one. A Hemingway-inspired wedding.
Hemingway.
What kind of food fits that understated elegance?
Oh, for Hemingway, I'm thinking simple but sophisticated. You know,
Like what?
fresh seafood,
Okay.
grilled meats,
Mm-hmm.
vibrant salads.
Yeah.
And then to honor his travels, maybe a paella station
Ooh, paella.
or a tapas bar.
I love those ideas. And drinks.
A classic mojito
Yes.
or a daiquiri, a nod to Cuba.
It all comes together, doesn't it?
It really does.
Finding those culinary connections to enhance the whole theme.
Create that memorable experience.
Exactly. So there you have it, our deep dive into literary wedding themes.
From Poe to Hemingway,
Gothic romance to roaring 20s glamour.
Shakespearean elegance to that Hemingway charm.
And we've seen how you can really take these themes and personalize them, right?
Absolutely. The dress, the decor, the food, the drinks.
It's amazing how, like, a simple bridal shop blog post can spark so much creativity.
It really is. It just goes to show inspiration can come from anywhere.
It really can. So whether you're planning a wedding right now or you just love the idea of, blending your passions into your big day, I hope this deep dive gave you some inspiration.
Some new ideas.
To think outside the box. Because ultimately, your wedding should be a reflection of you.
Of your unique love story.
Exactly. Now I got to ask, what literary world would you choose for your wedding day?
That's a tough one. But that's for you to figure out.
That's right. Happy wedding planning, everyone.